Welcome back to M&T Bank Stadium, everyone, and we're underway. Salas was in motion, and they lost the football. Flacco throwing, intercepted by Antonio Cromartie. Welcome back to Baltimore. Cold, breezy day. It's a 9-3 Ravens lead over the New York Jets as we prepare for the start of the second half. And let's take a look at the first half performance presented by Intel. Not as much offense as we saw in the first half was that long connection from Joe Flacco to Torrey Smith. Greg Gumbel along with Dan Dierdorf. There hasn't been much to say about momentum on either side, Nan. Obviously 3 field goals to 1 for the Ravens, but not so much of a lead that can't be overcome by a big play or two.
No, absolutely. And you got to wonder if maybe a turnover, a special teams play. The Jets have dodged a couple bullets in the sense they've had a couple turnovers that could have also added to the one that they already have. This is not unfamiliar territory, though, for the Jets, who usually are trailing at halftime in their road games.
What about the problems that continue for the Baltimore Ravens in trying to establish a running game?
Well, it's just not going well. Taylor has really been their only effective rusher out of the Wildcat. He's got 2 for a 10-yard average, but other than that, they still can't shake Ray Rice loose or make much happen. But again, that's not that big of a surprise, Greg. It's the number 1 run defense in the National Football League with the Jets.
The Jets will try to see if they can use some of that momentum, but they won't have their hands on the football first.
What we've seen in the first half has been a whole lot of creativity by the offensive coordinators of both clubs.
Jacoby Jones fields the kickoff at his own 8. Spinning at the 20. Trying to break outside, and he's brought down at about the 25-yard line. Troy Davis making the tackle as we look at some first half numbers, and they're all favoring the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, this one, 73 total yards at halftime for the Jets is anemic, to say the very least. That is, they can't find any offensive momentum whatsoever.
So on first down, this is Rice. And Rice with a little running room and across the 30 out to about the 32. David Harris making the tackle. These New York Jets hold down right at this moment the second and final wild card spot in the AFC playoff race. But look at the teams right behind them.
In the case you're struggling to find them, huddling over here are the Ravens.
2nd and 3. Rice again. And Rice to about the 29. And again, it's worth repeating that these Ravens have 4, including this game, 4 of their last 6 games here in very friendly M&T Bank Stadium.
And the other thing that you can't measure, because it's not something real on a piece of paper, is the confidence that the Ravens have in their ability to play good football here at home at M&T. They are just a markedly better team at home.
3rd and 1. Rice looking for a first down, and did he get it? He looks like he's reached the 30-yard line, but let's see. This will be close.
I don't think he got. No, he did not.
Short.
Yeah, I'd say he's about 12, 18 inches short.
And so they will bring the punting unit on.
You can see the frustration expressed by Marshall Yonda and some of the Ravens offensive linemen as they head to the sideline. It's really discouraging not to be able to convert that 3rd and short.
Cribbs back at his own 15-yard line. And he will let this one bounce. Inside the 10, inside the 5, and it will be down at about the 2-yard line. 64-yard punt by Sam Cook.
Well, you saw that stat where the Jets have a grand total of 74 yards on offense. Josh Cribbs has been running some of the Wildcat. Then Cribbs throwing to an unguarded Geno Smith. And then Chris Ivory, this was one of the few bright spots in their running game. their conventional running game where he takes off with the ball. But right now, this is perilous for Geno Smith and this Jets offense. You've been sitting for a while. Here you go, get the second half started, and I'm telling you, Rex Ryan's going, whoa, his heart rate is elevated with his rookie quarterback straddling his own goal line.
And Jeff Triplett just getting back into the play.
Well, it is his football in a certain sense, and nobody's going to play until he decides it's time to play.
Cribbs in motion. The give is to Ivory, and Ivory spinning for about 3 out to the 5.
Boy, Chris Canty had a good shot at Ivory and couldn't bring him down. That would have gone for no gain whatsoever. And Marty Mornhinweg, how many chances are you going to ask your quarterback, who's turned the football over 21 times already this season? There's a fine line between putting him in a tough spot, and also there's the other side of it, asking him to grow up.
Ivory again for about a yard. Elvis Dumerville with the tackle. So now let's see if Marty Mornhinweg has Geno Smith throwing out of his own end zone.
Well, I wonder if they're not going to do something that looks like a pass, but the intent is going to be, if you don't see it, take off with the football and maybe try to move the chains running it. Geno Smith is he's a very agile quarterback. He's a guy that can make people miss.
0 for 6 on third down today for the Jets. Smith has batted down at the line of scrimmage.
I think Chris Canty got it.
Make it 0 for 7 on third down.
Well, Chris had a chance to make a big play on the running game with a stop at the line of scrimmage, but one of the taller defensive tackles in football at 6'7", and he just elevates, and that ball actually ricocheted off of his shoulder pads. No chance on that one.
So now Ryan Quigley out of his own end zone. Got it away. Jacoby Jones from his own 46 and ran up the sideline. And great field position upcoming for the Baltimore Ravens. Josh Bush knocking him out of bounds.
Well, we saw Baltimore on their lone possession of this half go to the running game with Ray Rice. And again, I think they would desperately try to hammer away at this front wall of the Jets. But let me tell you something, that could be they're going into the wind, which is going to influence a lot of their play calling. You can see the difference without it.
Tyrod Taylor in the backfield ready. And gives to Bernard Pierce. So Pierce inside the 30 to the Jets 29, where Damon Harrison makes the stop.
And again, the Wildcat, the look here with either Tyrod Taylor doing it for Baltimore or either Bilal Powell or Josh Cribbs doing it for the Jets. It's a great bad weather offense. And while, we're not looking at anything like the Ravens saw last week in Chicago or anything like that, the wind is a factor here today.
Taylor once again, this time he keeps it and can't escape and is going to go down at the 35. Sheldon Richardson with a fine defensive play for the Jets.
Well, Taylor's going to ride the ball in there like the read option, but Richardson he did not collapse down. He kept his upfield integrity, and Tyrod Taylor not able to get around the really athletic Sheldon Richardson. That's as a defensive lineman, that is how you play it. You don't overcommit, you stay kind of neutral, and then you can make the play on the edge.
So Flacco now on 3rd and 12. Plenty of time. This side of the field. And off the hands of Torrey Smith. And his old teammate Ed Reed helps him up.
Well, and Antonio Cromartie was all over Torrey Smith. Again, this is the matchup we're going to see, and Cromartie is to shove Smith out of bounds. But if Torrey Smith could have fielded that ball cleanly into the wind, that is a heck of a throw by Joe Flacco, and he is looking for anybody and everybody in the Baltimore passing game.
Now this is a pretty good sized field goal attempt from 53 yards out. That's a heck of a kick.
Well, the wind at his back, he sailed it right through.
Justin Tucker makes it a 12-3 Ravens lead. Coming off of Justin Tucker's 53-yard field goal, he had the wind to his back, but we watched both these kickers in the pregame warm up, Dan, and just because the wind was at their back was no guarantee it was going to be straight and true.
No, and the wind's pushing it around a little bit, especially on the really long ones. But there's no question that what wind is down there on the field, it is at the back of the Ravens in this quarter.
Chris will run this one out of the end zone. And come up short of the 20-yard line. .9:56 to play, third quarter. Geno Smith trying to break out. A reminder for you, with NFL Mobile, you can get live video access to exclusive premium content on your smartphone. Call *NFL to download, or go to NFL.com/mobile to learn more. Message and data rates may apply.
Well, the New York Jets offense is being plug in your edge, smothered. They are being, whatever you want to say, it's just not happening for them offensively. They have completed 3 passes so far in this game.
In a pass-happy National Football League, that's not good.
No, that almost doesn't compute.
Smith rolling, throws, and Santonio Holmes with the diving catch.
And they're
incomplete.
And now they're going to say incomplete. And there's a prime example. Geno Smith should have. He either has to throw a better ball or he's got to run with it. He could have easily run for some positive yardage. And it looked to me like
a pretty good catch.
Yeah, it looked to me like Santonio Holmes got his hands underneath there, and Rex is going to throw the flag, and that's a good challenge.
Yep.
I think Santonio Holmes did a good job of keeping that ball off the turf. But I think that would have been just an easy run for about 7 or 8 yards.
Field of an incomplete pass.
Instead, he throws the ball to Holmes, makes Holmes go down and get it. But go down and get it, he did.
Well, Jeff Triplett is now just finished under the hood.
I'm hoping what took so long is they're trying to figure out where to spot the ball. I think this will give the Jets a first down.
Here's Jeff.
After review, the ruling on the field is reversed. It is a catch. The receiver had both hands under the ball with possession down at the 31-yard line.
And that is a rare first down for the New York Jets today.
I was going to say that is a rare double, the daily double for the Jets. It's a rare first down. It's the 4th first down, and it's the 4th completed pass of the day for the Jets. As we are into play in the third quarter, and that is, wow, those are sad numbers.
At some point, you have to find out if the kid can play, Dan. You've got to get him into the game.
It's his decision making. Okay, he got to complete.
Even Michigan,
with the run. I think he's got. And now they're confused, and Geno Smith calls a timeout.
Any momentum picked up from that completion just went out the window. We'll be back. So we'll see if the Jets just used a timeout that they might find more valuable a bit later. But meanwhile, here they go now from their own 31-yard line. Bilal Powell in the backfield with Geno Smith on first down.
Geno Smith is changing the play.
give it to Powell. And Powell to about the 35. 4-yard gain. It'll be 2nd and 6.
Yeah, that was a good surge by the Jets offense. You could see they rooted Baltimore off of the football. And especially Baltimore had a lot of people crowding the line of scrimmage. But some good blocking up front. Mangold, Austin Howard got a really nice serve.
Now that's one way a team can regain momentum, is running the football well.
Oregon.
2nd and 6. Play clock down to 3. Just barely got it off. Can't go anywhere.
Well, they go back to the exact same play they ran before. The underneath handoff by Geno Smith. And now we're into what would normally be a passing situation. And again, we talked about how the Jets just want Geno Smith to leave the front door and head downfield more often. They were really looking for that here today from him. And he's run the ball twice for 6 yards. That's not what they had in mind.
The Jets 0 for 7 on 3rd down today. Smith under pressure. Got it away. Incomplete at the 45-yard line. Intended for his tight end, Jeff Cumberland. And Ladarius Webb was there, but Smith under a lot of pressure.
Well, actually, Geno Smith delivers a pretty darn good pass under the circumstances. Off the corner, he does a really good job of escaping the rush. That was Pernell McPhee who came off the edge, and that would have been a completion if it wasn't for the wonderful coverage and the strip of the arms by Ladarius Webb.
Jacoby Jones back for the punt. Jones dodges a tackle. Running room. Far side of the field. Turning it up. Midfield. Up the sideline. Jones still going out of bounds. He'll be ruled out back at about the 46-yard line.
Some guys, their instincts are just so good. There's a flag on the field, although I don't. Do you see where it is, Greg?
No, I don't. Unless maybe it's down at about the 45 on the far side. There it is.
Oh, it's not on the field. It's over on the. As we have seen a lot in a number of NFL games, they are trying to collectively get it straight.
During the play, unsportsmanlike conduct on the New York Jets bench. They ran into the official ran into him trying to officiate the play. At 15 yards, that 15 yards will be added to the end of the run, 1st down.
You cannot, a coach cannot be on that 6-foot white band during a play because the officials have that to run up and down the field. Let's take a look at it. The officials operate in that white band, and watch on the far side. You see a whole lot of Jets standing in that area. Now you see some of them backing off, but right there, an official had to go around. He had to, it happens just to the right, and an official had to run around a Jets official who was on that. We've seen this before. We saw it earlier this year in a couple of high-profile games.
Tyrod Taylor. And he goes down. Courtesy of Quentin Coples. This is back in December of 2010 against Miami.
Well, that was an intentional trip. Remember that by the Jets? I think the strength coach.
Yes, it was. Sal Alosi.
But I saw that called earlier this season. You've got to leave that open because the official's looking at the field. He's not looking at where he's going, and if he runs into somebody, And this is a timeout called by Rex Ryan. And Rex is livid.
Timeout, Jets. Their second,
So
30-second
that's
timeout.
two timeouts used here in the second half by the New York Jets.
Rex went up to the line judge and called a timeout, and he is smoking. Somebody didn't get lined up where they were supposed to, and Rex Ryan's blood pressure just popped the bulb.
You know, one of the things that I'm sure that Rex is feeling is that teams do this all the time.
Again, there's a look at the official coming up right over here, and there's right there. He's got to clear a path as he's trying to officiate. Every team in the league, they are drilled about you've got to stay behind that 2-yard strip.
Flacco on 2nd and 17, going down at the 47-48 line. That's Calvin Pace with his 7th sack of the season.
And that's a classic coverage sack. Joe Flacco pulled that ball back in because he didn't find anywhere to go with it. And given the state of the Jets offense, Joe's not going to make it easy. He is not going to take any chances with the football.
So Tyrod Taylor back onto the field now for 3rd and long, and Taylor is going to be flanked to the near side of the field in the slot. Flacco flips it out to Taylor. Dodges one tackle up the sideline and diving out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. That'll be well short of a first down.
And the Ravens, with that call right there, are telling everybody we're willing to play field position football against this Jets offense. We don't think that they have the ability to go 80-plus yards against our defense, and why would they think otherwise?
Why? What have you seen from the New York Jets offense that would scare you today?
Nothing. And I think John Harbaugh falls into that category as well.
Let this one bounce. Can't keep it from going into the end zone. That's Shockey Brown. So it'll come out to the 20-yard line, and the Jet offense will take the field once again, down 12-3. 5:34 to play here in the 3rd quarter. 12-3 Ravens. Both Powell and Ivory are in the backfield now, along with Geno Smith. Smith pitches for Powell. Powell turns the corner and has enough for a first down.
Well, Baltimore had the right defense. They had James Ahedebo right there on the line of scrimmage. He's in a position to make this play, and he doesn't do it. You know, see, Ahedebo was there. That's his responsibility, and that responsibility starts with under no circumstances do you let the running back get to your outside. And that was just poor leverage by Ahedebo.
Josh Cribbs taking the snap, going left, and has running room, and out to about the 43. So again, we said this earlier, if there's anything that's going to jumpstart this Jets offense, it's the ground game.
They just don't have confidence in Geno Smith's passing ability with the wind conditions the way they are. And they knew that coming in. But they also knew that they've been pretty effective running the football. You know, they run it for 130 yards a game.
Cribbs once again. Cribbs throwing. And that is caught by David Nelson. And now it's ruled incomplete.
Yeah, they're ruling it incomplete.
That's a pretty good effort by Nelson.
Well, Josh Cribbs, remember, he was a college quarterback, and he throws to a spot, and it was just too far out in front of David Nelson. It would have been a heck of a catch. Somebody for the Jets has got to make a play. Somebody offensively has got to make a great catch, great throw, great run. Their defense is playing their hearts out, and they need a little help from their offense if they're to get back in there.
0 for 8 on 3rd down today. This is a 3rd and 4. Powell got the first down on the left side, out of bounds at about midfield. Let's get an update from New York once again. James Brown.
Need I say more than Cam?
Maybe a best man to the offensive line. JB is the quarterback. If he can't throw, he might as well run it. He goes in for the touchdown. 16-13. Sending it back to the star, best man Holiday. Your boy.
Greg Gumbel.
There you go.
Deerdorf.
I'm talking about.
You guys. Well, that's twice now the Jets have moved the sticks by getting around the right side of the Baltimore defense, moving to their offensive left.
Lobbing this one out. That's complete. Cumberland. And Cumberland out of bounds just short of the Baltimore 40.
Jeff Cumberland has been playing solid football for the Jets. He's got Terrell Suggs right in his face. He drops it where Cumberland can make a run for it. And that's a nice soft touch pass by Geno. And Suggs, again, got away with a little shove that was not even in the same zip code as necessary.
2nd and 1. Ivory has the first down off the left side. Running well behind DePrickashaw, Ferguson, and Brian Winters.
And again, they're getting some mileage over here. You got to love an offensive coordinator that when they find something that's working, they stay right after it. And right now, they've found a soft spot on the right side defensively of the Ravens.
Tommy Bohannon with the lead block out of the backfield. Cribbs for the snap.
And you
Geno
saw
Smith flanked to the near side of the field.
Well, you saw Rex right in there with his defense.
Cribbs to about the 33 as we come up on 3 minutes to play in the third quarter. A different story for the New York Jets in total yardage this quarter. 2nd and 8. Keeping it on the ground and straight ahead is Ivory.
And no go right there. I think Arthur Jones was down there at the bottom of that. See, and here we go now. And what would be a conventional passing down for any other team in the NFL, and you just got to think right now, what
are they going to dial up?
What kind of a trick are the Jets going to run offensively?
And they're going to reset the play clock.
Well, the football blew away a little bit. The football moved, and so they reset it.
3rd and 7. Smith backing up, penalty marker is down, and he throws it away.
Well, the umpire threw that flag. That's almost always holding. And we've got an injured, that's Chris Canty.
Down at the 42-yard line.
Oh, and he's had injury problems that he's been fighting all year. And you got holding against, you can see Triplett right there on your screen.
Holding, number 67 in the offense. 10-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
That's the Jets' rookie left guard, Brian Winters.
We saw Canty earlier in this game get up and block a pass. When he's healthy and he's in there, he's been a wonderful free agent addition to this Ravens front. Nice to see him walk out. Nice to see him walk off without too much of a limp. And here's the situation. You know, as they march, obviously you're way out of field goal range.
Going into the wind.
And and you factor you're going into the wind. And now you factor that number 7 is your quarterback.
Santonio Holmes back onto the field for the Jets.
Not sure where Marty Morningweg goes into the playbook for this scenario.
Screen.
Something safe, I would imagine. But again, at some point in time, you can't make it this easy for the defense by not even threatening down the field.
Gonna go deep. This side of the field. Torrey Graham with the interception. interception.
But you know what, Greg? That's not the end of the world. Look where the field position is. It was 3rd and 17. If they didn't complete anything, they would have had to punt it. And you know what? That is not the end of the world for the Jets. Well, the wind just stood this ball straight up, and you can see Corey Graham had the position. He goes up and makes the interception, and again, that's just as good as a punt.
On first down, Ray Rice. And Rice out to about the 15-yard line gives us an opportunity to remind you tonight on 60 Minutes. Whitey Bulger was public enemy number 1 and on the run for 16 years. So how did the FBI find him? Find out yourself only on 60 Minutes tonight.
The medical staff of the Ravens are looking at Chris Canty's shoulder. We'll pass along an update as soon as we get it.
Flacco. Quick pass, complete. Across the 25. 30-yard line is Torrey Smith for a first down.
Well, that's a good job of just underneath. Look at Torrey. He sold Cromartie, spun Cromartie all the way around. And I'm telling you, that's the kind of a play that you see now that some receivers are able to do to Antonio Cromartie that in years past you just didn't see that.
Baltimore gets its first down of the quarter inside the final minute. And here are flags.
Well, the Jets came across the ball, and then Michael Lord jumps, and he's trying to say he was drawn.
Neutral zone infraction.
And he was
96
right.
defense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Muhammad Wilkerson.
Well, Joe Flacco's got one of the better hard counts in football. And when I say a hard count, that's what the players use to describe a quarterback whose voice inflection can be so sharp and so loud that it draws the other guys into involuntarily jumping. And Joe Flacco's got a really good hard count.
There's a category the Jets hate to lead the league in, but they do. Flacco with time, going to go deep down the middle of the field. Caught! It's 5! Touchdown! Jacoby Jones!
Well, you see the difference in a long throw when the wind is at your back, like it was that time for Joe Flacco, because that baby not only didn't get hung up in the wind, it rode the wind right onto the hands. And Ed Reed's got center field, and Ed lost the ball, lost his positioning, and was not in a position to make the play. That's Ed Reed's play to make, and he just couldn't do it. And Joe Flacco, what a throw. And Greg, we've seen him complete long passes to Jacoby Jones before, as in like in Denver last year in the divisional playoff.
Extra point is good. That touchdown good for 66 yards. The first touchdown of the day is a dandy. Flacco to Jones, 19-3, Baltimore.
Here's Jacoby Jones right here. Here is Ed Reed. And watch Ed Reed. He's tracking the football. He's looking in the backfield. Now he's going to turn and run. He comes back and never to identify the football and actually doesn't intersect Jacoby Jones. He actually overruns him to the far side and takes himself completely out of the play. And that's just one of those situations you just got to wonder if what would the Ed Reed of 5 years ago done on that play. That was a superlative throw from Joe Flacco. That rode the jet stream, and it rode it right home to Jacoby Jones.
We said it before, not that it's any big secret, but Joe Flacco, maybe the best throwing arm in the National Football League today.
Well, he can let it go. But there's having a strong arm, and then there's knowing what to do with it. And Joe did both on that one.
Well, we can both name quarterbacks who can throw it through a brick wall, but nowhere near the receiver.
Yeah, well, some of those guys think like a brick wall, too.
Josh Cribbs will not run this one out of the end zone. So we have 5 seconds remaining to be played in the third quarter. Flacco with his 14th touchdown pass of the season.
Well, now the pressure has been on the Jets offense to do anything. And it has been, the passing game is virtually non-existent. Josh Cribbs is 1 for 2. Geno Smith is 4 of 11 with reception. Obviously, they have no touchdown passes.
Just 48 yards throwing the ball today.
So the learning process for Geno Smith continues.
This is Powell. And Powell for a couple of yards, and that will run us out of time here in the third quarter. We've come to the end of 3 here in Baltimore, and the Ravens with some breathing room. 19-3. Back after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Geno Smith out on the field. Rex Ryan. What's he thinking about, Dan?
Well, you know, I know everybody's wondering, do you pull Geno Smith and give Matt Sims a chance? This is the first series now in the second half where Geno has the wind at his back. And I think Rex Ryan's going to give him a couple series here to see how he does with the wind at his back.
Smith stepping up, throwing far side of the field for Holmes. Incomplete.
You know, I asked Rex Ryan yesterday afternoon, would you remove Geno and put in Matt Sims based on Geno's play? And he said, not as long as the game is in question. Not as long as we have a chance of winning. Well, at 19-3, I don't think Rex is ready to throw in the towel quite yet. But if it gets out of hand, or if it reaches that point where he doesn't think that they have a chance to win and Geno remains ineffective, I was led to believe that he would go to Matt Sims again and let him play.
Play clock is running down on Geno Smith. 2-1, and did he get a timeout called?
Jets, their third and final charge timeout.
Now there's a penalty marker on the field right between the 30 and the 35 being picked up.
Jeff Triplett's on his way over to talk to Rex and explain what's going on.
That a timeout was called, and therefore
they beat the flag.
So the Jets are out of timeouts now for the rest of regulation.
And Geno Smith is now looking at a 3rd and 9. This is, if you're a longtime NFL fan, you know how hard it is to win at this stadium. And you know how hard it is to come from behind against this defense. Keep in mind, there are guys over there named Suggs and Doomerville and Nada. There are great football players chasing you around.
3rd and 9. Smith under pressure and goes down at the 12. Pernell McPhee.
Well, I think Geno sensed some pressure from his right from Elvis Doomerville, and the minute he took that hop step, it was over because he lost track of who was downfield. Doomerville there is coming in at the top, and Geno jumps up and has nowhere to go with the football.
Now, Dan, here's another thing that figures into the Rex Ryan thinking. It's not that the Jets are completely out of this AFC playoff race. They began this day in possession of the second wild card spot.
No question, and this would only be their 6th loss if they lose.
At the 40-yard line, Jacoby Jones across midfield and into Jets territory at the 49. This week, don't miss the show that's in a league by itself. Guys take on all 32 teams and each other every week. James Brown, Phil Simms, Chris Collinsworth, the artistry of NFL films, the chemistry of the boys. Catch Inside the NFL Wednesday at 9 only on Showtime.
But you know, Greg, I've just got to wonder now. Geno is so ineffective that maybe you don't give Matt Sims a shot. Maybe the next series might be that. It might be that we might be at the tip.
This is Bernard Pierce, and Pierce hit from behind by Leger Douzable, and the line of scrimmage will be the 47.
You know, the Jets got burned defensively on that long play. But you got to have a lot of admiration for the way the Jets play defense, how hard they play defense. They don't point fingers at a really, most of the time, ineffective offense.
On 2nd and 7.
Oh, Joe takes
Flacco
an
pulled it
awkward
down
hit.
twice, and then, from behind
Yeah,
by Wilkerson.
and who hit him at the knees or below, and that's a penalty. And Joe Flacco is fortunate to be getting. Look at 96 come in. He trips, but Joe Flacco is very fortunate that he's not hurt.
But
Now,
Wilkerson was tripped up on his way to the quarterback.
A.Q. Shipley actually reached out
and held him and tripped him.
It tripped him. It looked like he grabbed at Wilkerson's leg.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Hit the quarterback below the knee. 15 yards, first down.
Well, let's look at this again. He did it. Watch 68 Shipley there. Watch him reach out right there, and he does. He knocks back the left leg of Muhammad Wilkerson, causing him to stumble and drop down. That is a penalty that always draws an automatic fine from the NFL. There should be no fine for Muhammad Wilkerson there. He was intentionally tripped.
This is Bernard Pierce going nowhere. Let's get another update from my good friends in New York, JB and Boomer.
And Alex Smith bites them.
Something you don't see much of, JB, but how about Danny Woodhead? Nice addition for San Diego. 3-yard TD run. The San Diego Chargers take the lead 24-21 in Kansas City.
Greg and the Hall of Famer, Dan Dierdorf.
Boy, we saw the Chargers last week. Nobody's happier for Danny Woodhead being on the squad than Philip Rivers. You got that. 2nd and 12. Flacco, far side of the field, and that is for Marlon Brown, and that is complete inside the 40-yard line, short of a first down.
It was a completed pass for not much in the way of yardage. But boy, look at that. But keep in mind now that Joe Flacco, he's having to fight the wind going this direction, and that was as tight a spiral as a guy could throw. That's one way for a knife through the wind, not having any wiggle or wobble to it.
There are some guys that don't throw a spiral like that on a perfectly calm day. Flacco under pressure, can't get away this time, and goes down at the 48.
And again, a victory for the Jets secondary, because Joe Flacco is going to play conservative football with a lead, but he can't find anybody. Now from this point on, it doesn't matter if every Jet defender fell down, it wouldn't make any difference. Joe's fighting for his life in the pocket, but initially he just had to eat the ball.
Looked like Sheldon Richardson along with Quentin Coples in on the sack. 4th and 19, and
it looks like Geno Smith is getting ready to come back in.
Yeah. Josh Cribbs deep. He will let it bounce. In fact, it will roll out of bounds. Land out of bounds. 11:21 to play in the 4th quarter. Geno Smith back at quarterback. Back behind those two big guys is Matt Sims, the number 2 quarterback for the New York Jets, who is not showing any signs of getting ready to come into this game, at least not yet, not now.
There's a picture that's worth 1,000 words. He's not even anywhere close to warming up.
On first down, Geno Smith throwing, and that batted down. Nice play by Darrell Smith. 2nd and 10.
Well, Darrell Smith, the free agent addition from Jacksonville, times this perfectly. Jumps right in front of it. But as you can see, Geno Smith, he doesn't understand yet the concept. Maybe he doesn't practice, but during a game of looking off defenders, he locks in on a receiver, stares him down, and his eyes took Darrell Smith right to it.
This one up the seam and just a little bit behind Kellen Winslow, who looked to be pretty well covered.
Let's see if Geno Smith this time, if he's going to. He locks in on the left. He's in on the left. He's left the whole way. And he had every intent of going to Winslow, it seemed to me, the whole way through that. And again, it takes a while for some quarterbacks to learn to go through their progressions. That wasn't part of the offense that he ran at West Virginia.
3rd and 10. Smith escaped trouble, and that's in and out of the arms of Santonio Holmes.
And Daryl Smith again. Well, how about that for a series for Daryl Smith?
11 drives for the New York Jets today. That is the 7th 3 and out.
And that's Geno Smith staying alive in the pocket. And running underneath the zone is Holmes. And Santonio Holmes just has to catch that ball. I know he's had hamstring problems, foot problems. But geez, your rookie quarterback needs some help. Needs help from the line, needs help from the receivers, needs help from the running backs. Everybody, it seems, on this Jets offense has been contributing to a bad day.
The dangerous Jacoby Jones at his own 33. Back across midfield and into Jet territory at the 46. And a late flag.
Quigley is shaken up.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 91 of the receiving team. Head on the kicker. After the kick. 15 yards, first down.
That's Courtney Upshaw guilty of the late penalty. And there's the hit on the punter, Ryan Quigley. Along with our producer, Mark Wolf, our director, Suzanne Smith. Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf back in Baltimore, and Flacco rolling and throwing complete to Vontae Leach. And Leach out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. And we have bodies down.
Man down. No harm, no foul.
Oh, the harm doesn't come until you
Okay.
start to feel the aches and pains.
Yeah, that won't be until he thaws out.
By the way, kudos as always to our great crew for performing well under the elements here. It's a cold day in Baltimore.
It's a cold day just about everywhere in the United States. The jet stream has betrayed us.
On 2nd and 4, this is Rice. And nothing there for Rice. Damon Harrison with the stop, and Ray Rice, 13 carries, 28 yards.
And for way too many times this year, Ray Rice's yards per carry starts with a 2. And that just, his level of frustration is just at an all-time high. 31 last week, but that was a lone bright spot in the Ravens running game all year.
3rd and 4, Flacco going to throw for it. Coming this way, and that is complete to Brandon Stokely for a first down.
You see, that's what receivers do to help out their quarterback. They make a tough catch. And Brandon Stokely, that qualifies as a tough catch. In these conditions, reaching out, that is an all-hands catch. And that's something the Jets receivers haven't been able to do today.
Stokely back in action, fighting a thigh injury lately. As we come up on 9 minutes to play here in the 4th. 9 different receivers have caught passes from Joe Flacco today. Rice for a yard.
Yeah, these are the, check it out, in the first 8 games, 14.5 rushes a game and 36 yards a game. Could that possibly be accurate? And then last week, you know, that 131, and that has been it, because now Ray is right back to where he was. And when I say Ray's right back to where he was, running the football is a team game. We saw on that last play right there, Ray Rice ran into a wall of Jets defenders right at the line of scrimmage. You can't lay that on Ray Rice's doorstep.
Rice on 2nd and 9, and their rerun.
A rerun is right. That wasn't a bad cut by Ray Rice. That wasn't a poor decision. That was a lack of blocking.
So passing situation for the Ravens and Flacco on 3rd and 9. Flacco watches the play clock wind down.
Here comes an all-out blitz up the middle.
Throwing, and that is complete. Short of a first down is Dallas Clark.
And you know, the Jets can sit all over the short routes when they know they've got that double A-gap blitz coming right up the middle, because they know the ball is coming out in a hurry. That's a Rex Ryan trademark. Run to perfection that time by the Jets. Combination of pressure up the middle and then tight coverage on the back end.
Cribs back, play markers fly.
We got some massive finger pointing going on here. This would be inside 5 yards, so this would be a first down.
False start.
No.
Center.
Gino Gradkowski.
5-yard penalty. It's still 4th down.
Or was that Gino? Let me see.
I think the long snapper.
No, the long
Morgan
snapper,
Cox.
right. Morgan
Yeah,
Cox,
Morgan
number
Cox.
46.
Right.
Here come the Jets. Got it away, hung it up high. Cribs gonna let it fall. Down at the 10-yard line by Shockey Brown. Jets running out of time. 6:48 to play. 4th quarter. 19-3. That's a look at Antonio Cromartie leaving the field, obviously with a limp.
Something with his right leg. He kind of was clutching up around the hip area.
Meanwhile, Geno Smith back on the field, and at quarterback for the New York Jets with 6:48 to play here in the 4th quarter. The Jets trailing 19-3. Smith out of the backfield is Powell. And Powell across the 20 to about the 22-yard line. Matt Sims still on the sideline, still with a jacket on.
Why?
And Dan, you begin to wonder what will it take for Rex Ryan and Marty Mornhinweg to make the switch.
You know, I think back to a conversation we had with Marty Mornhinweg earlier in the year where he said, this thing with Geno Smith, it's going to take 2 or 3 years. And you know what? Today is another day in the classroom where he's being taught a lesson and trying to learn something. And it's pretty obvious the Jets are making their decisions on Geno's playing time, not based on what has happened since we kicked it off a few minutes after 1 o'clock here, but based on from the day they drafted him. They made a decision, he's their guy, and obviously they think he's going to learn something by playing this out.
This one going deep down the sideline, and it's caught by Salas. And Salas for the first down.
And I'll tell you something else, Greg. If that was Matt Sims in there who completed that pass, I don't think Rex Ryan wants to deal with it. I don't think he wants to deal with a quarterback controversy.
Well, the question that's raised, Dan, is do you continue to devote everything to the growth of Geno Smith even when you're in the middle of a playoff?
If you think he gives you your best chance to win, yes.
Over the middle, and that's complete to the 35-yard line. That's Kellen Winslow.
Rex Ryan isn't leaving Geno Smith in the game because he thinks he's the nicest guy he's ever met. He's doing it because he thinks Geno Smith gives the Jets the best chance to win, both today and next week and the week after.
Under 5 minutes to play. This is Powell. And Powell with running room up the middle inside the 30 to about the 27-yard line.
And I'll tell you, I've played in a lot of football games where we were getting our tails handed to us, and we fought back, and we made something happen in the waning minutes. And you at least get to walk up the tunnel with having a little pride about yourself that you didn't check out, you didn't tap out, and you didn't walk away with your tail between your legs. There's something to be said for that.
Smith going for it all in the end zone. Intercepted. Picked off by Corey Graham. This one with the wind at his back, and Corey Graham undercut the receiver. Well, with that interception, the Baltimore faithful are pretty much decided that this game belongs to the Ravens. And Flacco and company looking to put this one away, and that is Bernard Pierce out close to the 30-yard line.
Well, this is really here's Corey Graham up here. Here's Salas, the intended receiver. Graham's out here on Stephen Hill, but watch him fall off Stephen Hill, and you wonder if he's not staring at Geno Smith locking in. And he just falls off Stephen Hill, disregards Hill, leaves him all alone. Now, Geno Smith looks like he glances outside at Hill, but then he comes back and doesn't realize that Corey Graham has fallen off coverage on Stephen Hill and comes across to make the play. Good disguising of the coverage there by the Ravens.
2nd and 1. This is Pierce looking for a first down, and he gets it across the 30 to the 31-yard line. That will move the sticks and keep the clock moving. Jets are out of timeouts, incidentally.
And Stephen Hill, who's been banged up, and the Jets during the week were trying to limit his reps, trying to get him ready. He's been a non-factor today.
So a Baltimore win here moves them to 5-6. The Jets with a loss fall to 5-6. Not out of the race by any means.
Well, when I look at that group of teams, and I look at the schedule, and I look at how many games Baltimore is going to play here in Baltimore, I think that last game with Cincinnati is going to determine whether or not the Ravens get into the playoffs.
The playoff picture, and you see all of those teams on the right.
But when I look at this whole group of teams over here, I got to tell you something. I like the Ravens better than any of them. Just because of their home. Miami is winning today, which would put them at 6-5, which is going to move them over there as the occupant of that 6th spot. And I got to tell you, how much credit you give to Joe Philbin and that Miami football team for playing good football in the face of what could only be described as massive adversity.
1:57 to play, we get the 2-minute warning. To remind you, the Subway postgame show coming your way. JV, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach, scores and highlights, playoff picture, all that good stuff coming up on the Subway postgame show. 3rd and 9. And the Ravens will keep it on the ground with Ray Rice. Forward. So he's going to be marked down at about the 32 or 33-yard line, and that'll create a punting situation.
And the Jets have no timeouts, so they're forced to just sit and watch as it dwindles away, and the Ravens, of course, are going to be in no hurry to punt this.
Sam Cook waits a while. And they call a timeout. By the way, we have an opportunity to send our congratulations out to our buddy and a member of our crew, Ryan Galvin, and his wife Melanie, on the birth of Catherine Ann. What a cutie, huh?
She most certainly is. Congrats to both of you, and all right, Ryan, you get a weekend off. That's it. Get back to work next weekend.
And we were all hoping and praying that she wouldn't look like Ryan.
Mercifully, she does not.
Oh. So 4th and 7 now.
Albert, you can wait.
And Josh Cribbs back at his 25-yard line. sideline and out of bounds. The rest of the way for the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, it's going to be a short week. You can take a look at this. It's Pittsburgh on November the 28th, which, if you're looking at your calendar, that is Thanksgiving night. So it's going to be an accelerated week for the Ravens, getting ready for a little Turkey Day football. And again, though, this team that just has this penchant to turn it on at home, they still have 3 home games remaining in the final 5.
Smith, sideline pass, and that is incomplete. Intended for Stephen Hill and Corey Graham. He's played a pretty good football game.
Yeah, take a look at Baltimore, this magnificent home record since John Harbaugh became the head coach. Take a look at this. Since 2008, only the New England Patriots have a better winning percentage, and not by much.
Mr. Harbaugh, participant in each of his first 5 seasons here in Baltimore. Geno Smith, wide open to Winslow, and Winslow trying to get to the sideline, didn't make it. Ladarius Webb with the hit. What a hit.
That's what's called taking a guy's legs out from under him. And Winslow, and he went high. He hit him in the thigh, not the knee.
Winslow's had some knee problems. That pop over the middle is complete. And this is Powell. Powell looking for the sideline. Leaping. And made it. 17 seconds remaining. And again, the Subway post-game show right around the corner, with the guys in the studio in New York with scores and highlights, and updating the playoff picture coming up right after we wind down here in Baltimore.
Powell over on the sideline. He didn't get up right away. Something stung when he got hit, knocked out of bounds. Something hurt.
Geno Smith in trouble and going down. Elvis Dumervil. And how's that for a statement by this Baltimore defense? The Jets come in here and are held to just a field goal. And once again, the Baltimore Ravens, in a game they had to win, have done just that. 19-3, the Ravens win it. They improve to 5-6 for Dan Deerdorf. For the rest of our guys here in Baltimore, Greg Gumbel, so long from Baltimore. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. Coming up, the Subway postgame show. We'll join James Brown in New York right after this.